Hi, as you are aware, the topic is Pharma 5.0 Outlook, Access, Excellence. So, essentially, what I'm trying to do here is to look at how we are going to move forward in this new normal, the post pandemic world, where practically everything has changed. Before I go into my final the disclaimer, the views uh, presented here are that of me as an individual, doesn't represent that of my organization. And a big thanks to the institute, IIM Calcutta, and to the team who invited me to this leadership talk series. And a big thank you. I take this opportunity to say a big thank you to all those who have been fighting the COVID war on the front line for all of us across the globe, be it healthcare worker, be it the administrator, be it the policeman, everyone who is out there. I mean, uh, uh, thanks will be less for them. We need to be absolutely grateful to them. And that's how I share here, a quote from Buddha: "In compassion lies the world's true strength." And this indeed is the time. It's always needed. So see whatever that you can do, whatever that each one of us can do in our immediate spheres and the spheres beyond, whatever that we can do, we should definitely do this. This is the time. We will look at the topic outlook. We will look at through three lenses: responsibility, environment, opportunity. Access we will look at through organization, participation, partnership, and excellence through leadership, strategy, and operations. First, the outlook. Why I'm saying responsibility. We live in a world where a billion have poor access to healthcare. And you take any parameters, whether communicable diseases, non-communicable diseases, child mortality, woman mortality during pregnancy and delivery, HIV, cancer, many other tropical diseases. I mean, we have a huge distance to cover. We live in a nation where health and healthcare gaps are even bigger. Every single parameter you look at in India, it looks like we are not among the developing nations. Unfortunately, our parameters have been improving last many years now, but still a huge gap is there. I remember, I'm quoting this from my own article, May 2019 in Medicine Man magazine. I wrote this, quoting WHO actually. I wrote about global healthcare. The threat ahead is so large that May 2019, remember, the threat ahead is so large that if it is not taken care of, it can wipe out substantial part of our progresses and gains on all fronts. And the task ahead is so enormous that it is beyond governments and agencies and so on and so forth. May 2019, this is what I wrote. Jan 2020, COVID strikes the world, and unfortunately, all that came true. We have been helplessly watching all that good that has been created, all the substantial part of the progresses in many fronts have been wiped away. Lives have been lost, still getting lost. Livelihoods have been lost, still getting lost. Healthcare is so very important. And hence, I would say healthcare is first a responsibility and only then an opportunity. And I'm talking this particular quotation of mine for the last 10 years. It's almost 10 years of speaking on various forums. And anybody who wants to get into this domain, any life sciences domain, healthcare, medical devices, hospital, pharma, biopharma, I mean, you cannot get into this domain until you really have genuine compassion and empathy. This is not a domain where unless until your heart is into it, please don't get into it. Please get into it only if you have that sense of responsibility. And then only the opportunity comes. Health has always been important. WHO, UNO has put at health as number 3 as sustainable development goal. But now health is finally a priority for everybody. Unfortunately, happened the wrong way, but it has happened. So that's what has happened in the environment. We can pat pharma industry can pat itself on its back. We have gained in reputation tremendously. You see, we never enjoyed reputation really, to tell you very honestly. I mean, the entire healthcare and pharma, unfortunately, has never been viewed in such a positive light. But when this crisis happened, all of us who are related to this field have really risen to the occasion, have taken care of. Still a lot of good work is happening. Tremendous efforts are happening. And that's how we have gained in reputation. Lot of reshaping has also been happening. Earlier we used to see biopharma in terms of, customers like doctors are there. And patients are doctors, so there are secondary customers and so on and so forth. The whole game has actually changed. Across the globe more, in India a little less, but it's, whole host of network is there because healthcare cost has become a very substantial part of the overall budgets and economy. So you have payers like health insurance, the governments who pay for the healthcare wherever there is government funded or public funded healthcare. Then you have providers like hospitals and all who have a say. Then patients themselves have a say. The partners have a say. So the whole game plan has changed. It's no longer simply about the doctor and eventually the patient. It's much more than that. Research has changed. I'm just taking you this 4,000-year-old, rather 4,000-year-old depiction of how research used to happen. Feel sick, eat plant, feel worse, eat another. Feel better, that turns into medicine. Well, I don't want to cast aspersions on traditional medicine, whether it is Chinese or Unani or our own Indian, they have their own place. What has happened in research now? The point I'm trying to make here is that earlier medicines used to come from the lab and then reaches the patient, get tested, come back, get formulated, and that's how the whole story used to be. Now, the molecule is taken from the body of the patient, goes back to the lab, look at the pattern, and that's how the new medicines, new health solutions are being created. So it's really the whole dynamism has changed. And it gets reflected so beautifully in rare disease. Again, rare diseases is one area where, it's like at a country level, you will have roughly around, again, different countries have different definitions, but something like 1.5 lakh patients in the entire population, and so on and so forth. Gaucher disease, Pompe disease. These are, rare diseases, and, even the solutions are like that. So what happens when you find some such novel solution? Then the academia, the industry, the government, everybody comes together, hybrid funding happens, patients come into the picture, patient associations come into the picture. And that's how the entire journey goes through. So you see what happens, that right from the beginning, patient organizations and all stakeholders in the system are involved in it. And that's how it progresses, finally reaching at the industrial level, production level. That's how. So I just wanted to depict how, now the research is happening. Remote healthcare era, very clear. Telemedicine, video-enabled tools. are the saving grace actually today, thanks to technology, that at least healthcare access has been better even in these difficult situations. And it's a typically very clearly the digital world now. So it's no longer or world, it is an and world, this and that, physical and digital. So it's an and world, and that's why I'm saying it is digital world. And most of the doctors now want to have that mix of virtual as well as real. Even the interactions, the expectations are there. It's no longer that every week, every month somebody has to come and meet me. So part virtual, part real, face to face. Knowledge orientation and scientific, it was always there. You see, all said and done, being a doctor, being in the medical field requires enormous amount of studies and updations which continue and have been very closely associated. I can really vouch for them. It's really good, but it has gone even more. The expectations of it is not no longer about some some frills. It's about real value. You must deliver the scientific knowledge and information unfiltered, and those expectations are there, and that kind of access is getting appreciated quite a lot. Access restrictions were any which way is coming down for the reps. So you cannot come to me 2 times a month, 3 times a month, comes once a month. Hospitals were putting, once a week, 1 week in a particular month, and 2 days in that particular week. A lot of things were already happening as far as access is concerned. It has gone even more now. So any which ways, it is needed that there is physical as well as digital. With this, let me jump straight into the Indian pharma market. So 1,52,000 crores worth of market has been growing fairly well. And even this year, despite all the setbacks and all that has happened, +6 has been the growth as per the last report. This is November 1 that I am quoting. Anti-diabetics and anti-infectives are in the top 10, as you can see here. And many, just one brand that you see, Dersem there by Malin, that is the antiviral, the most used at this point in time. It has already started featuring. But as a group, no, as I'll move forward, you will see the therapy trends. As you see, the cardiac, anti-infective, gastrointestinal, anti-diabetic, and respiratory is what has been ruling the roost as far as Indian pharma market is concerned. And as you can see, if you look closely, antiviral is there at around 10th and 11th place or so, but it is definitely, as expected, it is going to climb up this ladder. Looking at the global market, $1,400 billion market has always been growing despite all the issues and all, and expected to grow by 7.4% in coming 6 years. And this is the latest update after the pandemic. So this is a very recent study which I am quoting here. If you look at the Indian market, the therapy, how the contributions were there from different brands and therapy areas, it's a bit contrasted as compared to what is there at the global. So global, it is biotech that has been rising steadily, and the conventional has been, the chemical entity part of the market has been coming down. So you have now it is anticipated by 2026 it will be 35% of all biotech products which will be there. That's a remarkable thing which has been happening in the global market, and it is bound to happen in India also. Top therapy areas, if you look at the global level, oncology is a huge number one. There is, size of the bubble will tell you that there is no match with any other therapy area. Immunosuppressant, once again from biotech. Vaccines, primarily biotech. And of course, anti-diabetics, antivirals, anti-rheumatics. Even anti-rheumatics are mostly from biotech only. So this is the kind of composition that you see. So only anti-diabetic what you see here in the international, what you see at the in Indian market. Generics and biosimilars will also keep on going up. And why it is so? Because, as I said, healthcare it's a huge part of economy now, and you can't help it. And that's how you will see a lot of Indian companies doing exceedingly well in European market and US market, and that South African markets. So African markets, the rest of the African markets also. So this trend will continue. Next generation therapies, ACTs, that is adoptive cell transfers, monoclonal antibodies, gene therapy, cancer vaccines. Actually, all this, there are many, even though we have progressed quite a lot as far as medicines are concerned, there are still a good number of, health conditions where we don't have solutions. So luckily for us, that the biology has started maturing quite a lot. So chemistry sort of evolved and plateaued down. When chemistry was plateauing down, biology started evolving, and then it's beautifully the technology, the physics is helping biology to reach the places where it would not have gone earlier, and that augurs well for healthcare of the world. Today, whether it's artificial intelligence, blockchain, do-it-yourself diagnostics, Internet of Things, all anything and everything that you see in the technology space, one of the biggest applications have been there in the healthcare space, and that's how it really. I always used to say jokingly, say 5-6 years back in a conference, I said that healthcare will be the #1 industry in the world, and it's technology which will take us there, and it's happening that way. And if technology is in the healthcare, then there will be big techs. They will obviously be there in healthcare too. And if you have been reading, you would have seen that, be it Google, be it Amazon, be it Apple, be it Microsoft, be it any big tech firm in this world worth its salt, everybody is invested heavily, and healthcare is one of their key focus areas, and it will remain so. So the landscape of pharma and healthcare is completely changed now. It's no longer traditional. There are a lot of startup small biotech companies. These big tech companies are there. So, the whole game has been changing, and it's really, really challenging time. Of course, very, very exciting times also. Those who will understand this trend and will adapt and adopt will thrive in this world. But thanks to technology, one more thing that has happened, patients are in control. So this device and the data, and thankfully in India, the data is relatively cheaper as compared to rest of the world. And yes, so our country's e-penetration happened much lesser than M-penetration. And that's how we ended up having such a beautiful ecosystem is there on the digital world, where all that health solutions, or of course all kinds of aspects, education and many other aspects have been riding beautifully well. But yes, that creates a certain amount of empowerment, and that empowerment is there for the patients now. And that reality we have to keep in mind. Earlier, what it used to be, whatever doctor is saying, and that's what used to be there. Now, information is there. With each of the patient, they are talking to each other. They are creating groups amongst each other. So this is now. And one more thing is that patient is any which way is there in the center, whether it is a hospital, whether it is healthcare provider, payers like health insurance or technology. Are also viewed as consumers, sort of. So there is some degree of consumerization that has also happened. If you look at the healthcare finance wheel, which is quite complex, by the way, patients once again is the entity which is there right at the center. And NHS of England has very nicely said, no decision about me without me. So I, as a patient, need to be the stakeholder out there in the decision making process itself. Even the solution should not reach me before I am part of the solution making process. And that's the reality that we need to keep in mind. So with this outlook in mind, let's go to access. Let's see how how the organization should be. So it's imperative for life sciences organization to be patient-centered. Please remember this word, patient-centered. Let's first of all look at customer centricity. Professor Feda of Wharton Business School said, customer centricity is the strategy to fundamentally align a company's products and services with the wants and needs of its most valuable customers. So whether it is understanding your customer, designing the customer, customer-focused leadership, metrics, feedback, empowering frontline, all aspects put together adds to your being customer-centric. And empowering the frontline, please remember this, in pharma particularly, it is so very important that your frontline is empowered, and you will see why. Journey from being organization function focused to set of activities which create value, passivity to interactivity, reactivity to proactivity, calendar and milestone driven to behavior driven, siloed to integrated, and more than that, product, place, price, promotion, 4Ps, 2 4Ws, who, where, why, when. So where are my customers? What they require, when they require. If I'm addressing that, then I'm truly being customer centric. Let's come to patient centricity once again then. And IFO Pharma has said patient centricity is officially defined as the process of designing a service or solution around the patient. And I wrote sometime back, I think May 2019, it appeared, patient centricity, the most talked, least understood, and poorly implemented strategy in our domain, if holistically approached and sincerely implemented, can truly transform and lead us towards a future that we all will be truly proud of. And I really mean it. A lot of talks happens that we want to be patient-centric. Now, of course, post-pandemic, most have moved in that direction. But a lot of talk used to happen, and then, once again, we go to our default mode, and hence I wrote this a little terse statement in one of my articles. And you remember, I didn't say patient centricity. I said organization should be patient centered. So what did I mean? Is it just semantics? No. That's the difference between centric to centered is the difference between the intent and action. So it's noun, verb, intent, action, thought, connect. Product services is more than that. Centric is solve for business needs. You are still talking about what do you want to do. But centered is around solving for the user need. So it's just outside in perspective. And if you go deeper into those highly innovative, very successful tech companies, they all talk in terms of being centered rather than being centric. The story starts out there and then reaches the place. So what it means to be patient-centered in pharma, and I've taken this quotation straight from one article from Statics. It's about experiencing the world from the patient's perspective, strive to understand and improve with empathy and compassion every single aspect of patient life experience as it relates to living with a specific disease before, during, and after the process of becoming aware of their diagnosis. Please mark this part, that specific disease before, during, and after the process of becoming aware of its diagnosis. So it's not just one patient comes, takes my medicine. I mean, that's the only relationship or only responsibility that I have. No. Before that, do I work on the awareness so that they know about it early? And also, once they are prescribed, is there something else that can be done? Can I be of some help? Because it's not just about selling medicine. I want to improve healthcare. So how does patient-centered life sciences organization look like? Patients right on top, every single function in the organization converging into patients. So it's not just the sales and marketing, but the leadership, because what is there? If you are in pharma, if you are in life sciences, if you are in healthcare, so patient has to be on top. And not only it is converging into the patient, I'm also saying that it is diverging from the patients to the entire, every single function which is there in the organization. That's what, to me, is the patient-centered life sciences organization. What is patients? A lot of I remember one of the CEO of one of the big corporate hospitals. I was just interacting with him, and we in pharma, we will be happy doing some 15, 20 KPIs in sales and marketing, and we'll be happy about it. He just coolly informed that he has some 125 KPIs. It's an enormous kind of processes and functions, so beautifully done. Sort of learning we can have from healthcare. So what healthcare says: providing care that is respectful of and responsive to individual patient preferences, needs and values, and ensuring that patient values guide all clinical decisions. Why we also cannot follow that? Can you see it is outside in? So there is this beautiful 8 principles of patient-centered care from Pickers, which talks about respect for patient preferences, coordination, information, physical comfort, emotional support, family and friends, continuity, access to care. This is really well researched 8 principles that are there by Pickers. And you will hear this value-based healthcare quite a lot. It's about it's not about that one particular solution that you have or one particular product that you have or set of products or solutions that you have. It's what real value, what is the health value you are delivering eventually, the outcome that you are delivering eventually, and also all that can be converted into economic value as well. So what is the roadmap for becoming patient-centered? So first, patient expectations, needs, patient journey, pain point, patient profile, align the entire organization, set strategy, and then design the offering. And that's how you will see some of the organizations. Sanofi, global integrated healthcare leader focused on patient needs. This is the vision statement partly I have taken. Astra, making the most meaningful difference to patient health through great medicines. And similarly, you can see in UCB and Biocon also that it's eventually patients. They're talking about patients. And how to become patient-centered. I have just a 2-word mantra, and that is think disease. Trust me, when you don't think about your own product, your own medicine, your own health solution that you are providing, if you just look at that particular disease, if you're selling anti-diabetic, if you think about diabetes per se, your whole perspective changes, your way of thinking changes, your orientation changes. And that's the first step. So when I'm getting, as whatever level in the organization, I'm getting into a particular therapy area, then I first look at that therapy area, what I am going to do to make a difference to the therapy area itself by enhancing knowledge, by doing things, by providing things other than just the products. That kind of a sense of responsibility will come when you think disease. Understand disease life cycle. It's not very simple. Just you got detected or somebody gets detected, you just talk to them, then you will know what all happens, how many things happen. And same thing happens in patient journey also. It's never that you get the symptoms, you start having some doubts, you straight away run to the doctor. It doesn't happen that way now. And you as a if you have some condition, unfortunately, if there is something with someone known to you, you first go to the net, you try to ask to a few people around, then and then eventually reaching the physician or the specialist. So it's no longer, and even after reaching there, again lot of other things also keep happening in between. So can I understand this journey as a pharma professional and do something in this journey as well, wherever I can add value? That understanding is very important. So with this understanding, let's come to the healthcare ecosystem. How it is like patients, physicians, of course, private healthcare, public health system, and regulators. So these are the core of healthcare ecosystem in any part of the world. And I will talk here about 3 partnerships and 2 participation. You remember access, when I talked about we are going to talk access, I mentioned at that point in time that we will talk about 3 partnerships and 2 participation. Let's see what are those 3 partnerships. First partner, the physician. I mean it when I say that this is the doctor's chamber I have depicted, from the top view of a doctor's chamber. So brands and MR interact in this chamber, and Everything happens in this 10 by 10 room. Whether that 10 by 10 room is in a private clinic, inside the hospital, or now sitting at home doing teleconsultation. But things happen here. That's where our entire focus should be. And that's why we need to partner the physician who's really taking care of the patients. And how you will partner? A lot of things are happening: e-consultation, telehealth, remote care, research. There are many ways by which you can partner with the physicians. Of course, you can support even in whatever way you can in doing whatever that physician is trying to do for the patients. Of course, the technology also provides. Can we create that access? Can we provide that access by our own involvement? And this is the time in which it will be so much valued, and a lot of good efforts are happening in this direction also. I'm sharing just one of them. Partnership with regulators. You see, pharma industry regulations are there, will be there because they are needed. It's not like any other industry. It's not like FMCG or electronic goods. No, there are side effects, there are issues, there can be many things. The product must be taken in a prescribed way, must be given in a prescribed way. That regulation must be promoted in a prescribed way, must be marketed in a proper way. All that aspects are very, very important. So we must partner the regulators. And you see, there is this uniform code of pharmaceutical marketing practices in India, which is voluntary actually. It's not mandated, but that's onus is on us. We must follow those code of marketing practices. That's very important. Self-regulation, co-regulation, and true compliance to these ethics is so very important. Partnership with patients. Somebody may scoff of this thought, but fact remains that's the era that is there, and there are many ways by which But yes, there are regulations which are there. You're not supposed to do selling when you are in touch with the patient. You're not supposed to capture their data or their any information. You are genuinely creating some solutions in the space of awareness, education, information, or if there are some therapies which require some supportive aspects without getting it tagged to the product. When you're doing all that, yes, you can partner the patients. And as I showed in rare diseases drug development, patients are any which ways partners right from the beginning of the research. Partnering with patients, as I say, the transparency as far as how you are going to go about your products and medicines, support and services, value add products which are there, equitable access. It's very important that if there is really good healthcare solution, if good medicines are there, that should be accessible to those who really need it. And there are a lot of such disease conditions which are there: patient safety, patient group relationship, quality, product information, involvement in R&D. I have already partnerships. I've already talked. They come to participation, public health system participation. How to promote well-being, to achieve health, join hands with the stakeholders. It's so important. It's such a gigantic task. As I said right in the beginning, it's beyond one agency or the governments. If I am in the healthcare or life sciences space, I must contribute in managing whatever that I can do in managing that healthcare system. I may be having only diabetes. Maybe in diabetes I can do something. Maybe if I'm having whatever area that I have, there are ways by which I can contribute, and that participation is important. Private healthcare participation. Why we should only be selling, supplying medicines to private hospitals? There are a number of ways: research, education, optimization, outreach. You can join hands with them, do things way beyond just being a vendor of supplying medicines. The P's of pharma are different than plain P's, and this way I'm coming to access, which I was especially asked to focus on. So prescribers, patients, pharmacy, provider, payer. So provider is hospitals, payer is health insurance or the government agencies. Partners are there, many partners who are there. These are the P's of pharma. The P's of pharma. So all other players, all other stakeholders in the system have also grown in size and influence. We have to take cognizance of this reality. And this I am sharing here to bring across what is where market access comes, where marketing comes. This is how it comes, friends. So when you talk marketing is in terms of looking at the primary customers, which is the physicians, to a great extent with the pharmacists, because medicines will be sold there. To some extent, of course, with partners who are partnering with us. But beyond that, if you can have market access that can really, whether it is payers, government agencies, public healthcare, private hospital, corporate hospitals, patient groups, patient themselves, that's the domain of market access. And it's a beautiful domain which has evolved quite a lot in the Western markets because of public healthcare funding, which is there. You can't move even. I mean, unless until you negotiate with the governments and the agencies and take their agreement on the price and various other aspects, establish the value of the product. You can't even launch. I mean, it's not going to work that way. So market access is a very critical part, and it is going to become even more important as we move progress. So what are the market access goals? There are two goals in market access: outcome. When I say outcome, what it is health outcome, disease outcome. When I say disease outcome, it is at one individual level. When I say health outcome, it means it's at the population level. So by certain healthcare intervention, the outcomes which has happened, how things have improved as a larger population level. It can be a city, it can be a locality, but it's at a larger population level. When that impact is there, then that is measured in terms of outcome. And there is a scientific way of, there is a science called health economic outcome research that I'm sure you all are getting exposed to. So that forms an essential part of market access. Outreach in terms of the patient. There is a way you can't reach out to the patients or the provider or the government healthcare agencies. There is a particular way, even to the private healthcare payers who are there. So it's not about going and starting your detailing story about the products. No, you go there with an entirely different way of discussion. You create value dossiers, and those aspects are there. And that's what market access does. And just to clarify it further, I'll say what kind of value is that. Say, whenever there is a new product which has come after the research, it got approved. Then what kind of a the differential, what additional value it is offering over the existing products which are there, and hence what is going to be the value, what kind of impact it is going to have on the healthcare per se. So all these aspects are there. So it's a very integral part of overall commercial operations. So it's somewhere between research and commercial and government affairs and all. So market access operates. So just to clarify further, what are the market access activities and capabilities? Of course, it starts with the stakeholders, all stakeholders in the healthcare ecosystem, very close coordination, understanding there. Then patient access, that how, what we can do, at what price we can bring the product, by which more number of patients are getting the product, or when the product is available, how the patients are getting reimbursed about their medication, and so on and so forth. Value stories, as I said, the value dossiers are created. Price for value, so again negotiations also are done. Then look at the infrastructure barriers, whether you can do something there. Then health system policies, regulation, build collaborations, and develop an integrated access plan. So nowadays, particularly the global pharma, when they are launching across the world, that absolutely the access plan is the first plan that is put in place. And even for our Indian companies also, they are now playing big time in all the Western markets, where unless until you go by access way, it's no longer about just sales and marketing. If you don't apply market access principles and processes, you just can't move forward. So that's how market access operates. This brings to us the last part of our talk here, that is excellence. And excellence, again, I would look at through leadership, strategy, and operation. First, the leadership. So, who is a patient-centered leader here we talk about? So, it's who develops a compelling patient engagement and advocacy vision, works to translate patient priorities into a specific deliverable. So as you can see here, it has been so beautifully depicted that patient is holding up that entire process right up to the leadership, that how things should be thought, and leadership excellence will be a lot about empathy, compassion, and trust. You see, as I have been saying right from the beginning, this is not a domain where you come purely from your mind. The heart has to come into the play. There has to be a sense of responsibility. And that can come through, when you feel about the diseases, when you feel about the patient, when you know that healthcare is something which will require a lot of heart from you. And that's what leadership excellence, I would say, is a lot about empathy, compassion, and trust as far as this domain is concerned. Strategic excellence, once again, purpose and vision. And you will see, right, the first statement is what will be our contribution to the society. The businesses are any which way social business. It has been said for a long time, many decades back. Big philosophers of business, they have said that business is a social enterprise. But somewhere along the line, all that gets diluted. But in this domain, social has to be the first thing in mind. You just cannot have commercial first and social later. No, it has to be first. And when that is in place, then you put your growth ambition, that which market differentiation, and then commercial excellence comes, then key target outcomes, and then value drivers, KPIs, and so on and so forth, digital and all other capabilities and all aspects are there. So, which brings me to business excellence, which I wanted to talk to you in full details. This is a domain very close to my heart because I have been one of the pioneers in the Indian pharma industry who started this function. I led this function for my organization after building it for the first time for a very long time, and it remains close to my heart. So, business excellence, from customer insights to customer experience and everything in between. Business excellence is a critical organizational function for optimizing opportunities and resources by a number of steps which are there that I have mentioned, various functions, facilitating a sustainable and profitable growth. So that's what is business excellence. And again, I wrote this somewhere. What are the excellence components which are there? It's about sales excellence, customer excellence. So your alternate sales channel, CRM is there, key account management, Salesforce capability, targeting, business efficiency, resource deployment, promo mix, marketing excellence, and various components are there in business excellence. Excellence is a lot about collaborations. You see, one of the beauty of excellence function is, and which I loved the most, was because then I was interacting with corporate leadership one hand, finance on other hand, supply chain this side, sales on that side, marketing on this side, business development another side, market access. So it was like really a pivotal and central node. The excellence journey is typically starts with business unit strategy. So you look at what the business unit strategy, you actually partner in developing business unit strategy, then look at the choices, then you design, then the delivery, and that's how it moves. The flow is implement. Of course, businesses are owned by marketing to start with. So implement strategic marketing processes, optimize channels to market, focus on customer relationship management, and invest in sales effectiveness. So that's the kind of flow is there, starting with marketing excellence, ending with sales force effectiveness, and in between customers and supply chain, etc. are there. What is the excellence value? Excellence value is smart profit growth. When I say smart profit growth, what I mean to say is that resource optimization, how to put whether it is human resource or monetary resource, in such a way that there is maximum return with minimum risk. Yet, of course, if you are minimal risk, then growth also gets impacted. So somewhere you have to strike the balance that you have significant growth also while maximizing the profits. So optimum, deployment of the resources. That's how smart profit growth I am talking with the sales, marketing, commercial strategy, pricing, portfolio strategy. Various aspects are there. Strategic excellence journey to me is promotion, partnership, and participation. We just saw partnership and participation earlier. So essentially, what happens? Most of the organizations are still stuck at the promotion level. That's sales and marketing. You create visual aid, you create things for the doctor. At best, do a little bit more for the patients, and that's the end of the story. But partnerships and participations are so very critical and important now, and that's what I would like to share with you back based on Professor Nigel Percy's one of the slides that I saw in one presentation. So what happens on one side I have put sales level and potential. The other side I have put service, relationship and complexity. So typically at this end, low sales, I'm talking about single patient. At the other hand, it is the governments. So obviously, the volumes are at the higher level, and as the volumes go up, you have general practitioners, then physicians, then specialists. At each level, the volume changes and relationship complexity obviously changes. So can it be tackled same way? Can the hospital be tackled the same way, the way you are tackling an individual physician or the patient or the government? That's how that at some level it is material representative, contract sales organization, direct to consumer. Little above you go, it is material representative and specialty rep. Then when you reach, you require hospital, then you require a combination of sales rep, specialty rep, and key account management is needed now. And the moment you go to government institution, health insurance and all, then you need market access and key account management approach. So this is the kind of business model excellence which is needed. Commercial model excellence, once again, all three components. Sales and marketing is obviously the biggest piece because your maximum number of field force and marketing and all those, and maximum number of physicians also you are covering. Then you have key account management, which is relatively a smaller team, and market access. Once again, it is barely 2 or 3 individuals which run the entire. And support. The key account management is about offer bundling, excellence assist to the healthcare providers, partner outreach, which is there. So then healthcare providers become your partners. And then the moment it goes to market access, the value excellence changes to health outcome, medicine access, society, community, the whole gamut is, it's entirely different ball game at the highest level in market access. Customer excellence is about empowerment, experience, engagement. You must be seeing this in your courses and reading in the articles also. That is no longer just about selling. We even as a consumer, we are not happy buying. We need empowerment, we need experience, we need engagement. So same is true for healthcare consumers also. Patient support excellence. You know what happens that, say, yes, there are certain regulations and we should follow those regulations. We should really respect those regulations. But at the same time, we should not stop ourselves from doing things by which disease awareness increases, assistance to that particular therapy area increases, availability of medicines. If somewhere is there, we need to intervene, we should intervene. Adherence, there is data which says that for lack of adherence, lot of outcomes are getting impacted across the world. That situation is, can I do something by which the patient are not just when they are prescribed, that they are regularly taking their medications. And then advocacy, and here I'm talking about patient advocacy. So there are patients who are aware patients, they are talking to other patients also, and that advocacy is also important. And I'll come to that excellence through solutions. So Theodore Levitt said that there are no such things as service industries. There are only industries whose service components are greater or less than those of other industries. Everybody is in service. So we should not just rest, okay, I have some set of products and I'm happy with that. We must means desired value, and that means solutions. So any consumer, whether it is healthcare consumer or any consumer, they should see the solution and not just the product. So services component is important. And that services component can be, this is just one example of COPD patients, where when there are new patients are there, you can do awareness and diagnosis. When there are existing patient pools are there, can you help in the treatment paradigms, adherence, and many aspects are there. And this is a live example, which a lot of good work is happening even in India, and of course internationally, a lot of things are happening in this direction. Health solutions excellence, whether it is self-management support, education, therapy monitoring, uh, clinical monitoring and intervention, wherever within the regulations we can be contributing, we should be contributing. Digital health excellence, this is amazing, opportunities. As I say, we are still at the bottom, somewhere at the tactical level only. It's a huge journey which is there, and immense possibilities are there, immense possibility. It is already nowadays in some of the countries, apps are getting prescribed on prescription, because there is approval by the dog authorities, and that is bound to happen, and it is very, very helpful. It has been proven beyond doubt that those devices or those assistance through technology is helping in managing the diseases in a really, really good way. But that's a long, long journey, and that journey must be started by everybody, all who are there in this. There are some who are actually pharma company, but they're aspiring to turn into digital healthcare company in 10 years time. I mean, and that's bound to happen. Marketing excellence, then again, it's about digital marketing, public relations, advertising, sales promotion, social media, website, events. So it's an the entire it's an integrated thing. It's no longer just about the new remote era healthcare ecosystem. It has to be. So again, marketing excellence is on digital touch points. So it's, digital works both ways, that you are giving out something into the ecosystem, and you are harnessing a lot out of adversity. You are harnessing back and responding real time, that there is no real optimization of digital. So as a marketeer, it is very important that, I'm not just giving, I'm also taking back the feedbacks which are coming. I mean, that's very, very important. So marketing team values and capabilities, disease orientation, solution focus, service approach, holistic strategy, omni-channel channel is a given, real-time response profile. But one that I like to point out here is social listening. That's very, very critical skill. So what is getting talked about me on the social media, about my product on the social media, where it is getting talked, who is talking what, that understanding, that social listening skills will be. Comes to sales excellence, of course, that the interaction between the sales rep and the physician is, there are multiple layers in that. Once again, thanks to the digital, and so it's not just about I'm coming and promoting my product. It's about, once again, partnering you in trying to do whatever that I can do in that particular disease area, whether it is through awareness, whether it is through education, whether it is through something else, whether some knowledge that you require especially, or whichever way. So there are ways by which one can really excel. Again, my therapy area, my product, but information is not just about the product that I have got. Information about what is happening, in that particular physician's entire area, what is getting talked, what is getting talked on social media in that particular therapy area, about that particular doctor also, maybe some discussions are happening. So having that entire information, and of course that connect, that is very important, that how I am connected to the ecosystem of my own customers. So sales team values and capabilities, healthcare mindset, empathy and compassion, knowledge, information, high integrity, digital savviness, value champion, partnership skills is what. In marketing, I highlighted that social listening. In sales, I will highlight partnership skills. That whole orientation has to be, I'm here with this particular customer, every single customer, every single physician of mine, or every single hospital that I am covering, I'm going to do add value beyond. Of course, I'll take the help of my head office, medical, everybody in doing that, but then I need to think beyond, see what they require beyond the product that I'm giving to them. So, this is very beautifully, I think it appeared in some report of the BCG. Last year it came that a single rep, that how the role can be just from just detailing and educating like a traditionalist, the Sherpa overcomes barriers, the economy is pricing sensitive, data maven connects the dots, strategies, customizes, selling, the conductor collaborates and coordinates. I know this is sounding too much, but trust me, I have seen, of course, I have come from the field, spent good years in the field before reaching the head office after doing some courses and also, but I have seen that happening. I have seen that happening, getting done my own team member, and it happens that way. See, and such a, that's why, right in the beginning, somewhere in one slide, I said that empowering the front line is so very important if you really want to be customer centric or patient centric. And in pharma, it is very, very important that this person out there is going to eventually take care of the physicians must really be developed, empowered, and supported in a very big way, because that position is very critical in making a difference, not just to the physician, not to the company, even to the healthcare, the way it is done. So if I look at business excellence in its totality, so different business units are there. This function is right there in the center. Whether it's marketing excellence, commercial strategy, analytics, automation, sales force effectiveness, serving all the business units, liaising on one hand with the support functions like supply chain and finance and many, and on the corporate functions also, then it is liaising between them as far as budgeting, targeting, and all the resource allocation and all aspects are there. So business excellence, I would say, how I look at business excellence is like an efficient and effective pivot around which the businesses can be built and run to optimum value creation with a sustainable and profitable growth. That's how I look at business excellence. So once again, summing up Pharma 5.0, how I look at it. So being patient-centered, of course, market access one hand, business excellence on the other hand. The two pillars are being patient-centered and solution-focused. And when you think disease, when you offer partnership and participation, when you offer outcome and outreach, when you are ensuring engagement and experience, when you are social and truly digital, and when you operate with empathy, trust, and compassion, that's the journey that I foresee, that the journey that I visualize for Pharma 5.0. And to sum it up, Albert Einstein very beautifully said that strive not to be a success, rather to be of value. So we must add value, create value, co-create value wherever we are. In any sphere, in every sphere, we can do that. But always remember, the value you add comes from the values you hold. Thank you so much for listening to me. Please do take care and stay well, each one of you. I look forward to any one of you who feels like getting connected to me on my social media platforms or over mail. You're most welcome. Thank you so much. It was wonderful talking to you. Thank you.